First of all, exteriors that don't look like your parents' church, and it's gone all the way to that area, and so it's more of a modern look, and it's more of a building that would look like today's buildings. What that is exactly is different in almost every city. But I could poll all of you and say, how many of you would rather go to the new, and I'm not advertising for McDonald's, but the new McDonald's concept, or would you like to go to the one that was built 45 years ago? And I think everybody would say, if I have to go to McDonald's, I just soon go to the new one. Or maybe you love McDonald's, but that's what it is. We could go into your city here and find 50-year-old businesses that people would say, that's an incredible business. They have been going on for 50 years. They've gone through a generation. They're still strong. They're doing well. That is a business to be proud of. But you don't go into 50-year-old buildings and say the same thing. I really cherish going to that 50-year-old building and what it is. So the exteriors are important. Architecture that is welcoming, and a design that will follow through with that of the things that we're looking for today. We see churches dropping the denominational branding, I never thought, I go to a Baptist church in Ogden, Utah, and I never thought I would ever see the day that didn't say Baptist on the outside of the building, and it doesn't say that today. It's gone. I never thought I'd see the day where the Southern Baptist Church was recommending not having their name on the building as they are now doing as a church. And they're not doing that because they want people to, the Southern Baptist is still an important part of what they were doing. I've met with them, I've talked with them. Why is it that you are dropping that Southern Baptist name around the country the way that you are? And they said, we're losing 500,000 people a year. I mean, that gets your attention, and it gets to the point where you start to say, that's the largest single congregation in the United States, 16.5 million people a couple of years ago, somewhere under 15 million today. But when you've done that, you start to say, maybe we better make some change, and that's one of those changes that's there. The biggest growth in churches today has been non-denominational churches. Again, why is that? And why are they growing with younger people? And so you look at it and you start to say, it's not my parents' church. It's a whole different concept. I think I'll go try that. And they like it, and it's been where it's going. So how denominational churches have responded is going back with, a different name. They have taken the thing out of it, and they basically the newcomers class and surprise, you're a Southern Baptist now. This is where it's going. So here's just some exteriors, and I go from kind of larger buildings to small. This is a church over in Ames, Iowa. They specifically wanted to get to the college crowd, major college there, just a few blocks from them. They were generating 5 or 10 people to that building, and 5 or 10 college students. And they built this, and it has taken off. They have a college ministry here that's a couple thousand, and it really has impacted just a whole lot of people. Casper, Wyoming is not a big town. It's got about 35,000 people in it. When they came to us and told us what they wanted to do, I said, you guys are crazier than most churches that we deal with. But to build a 104,000 square foot project that holds 2,500 people in a town of 30,000 is, I got to tell you, that's a vision. And they did that. The pastor's come back here. It's been open about 6 months. He called me, or I called him, said, how is everything going? He said, we built it too small. This is just down in Orlando, Florida, and I'm just trying to show the difference of look of what it is. This is Northland down in Longwood, Florida. This church has grown since the time this was built from about 8,000 to about 25,000. And so the building made a difference. This pastor here, I just absolutely love Pastor Smucker. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, had a church of about 600, 700, and he had been going. He was the founding pastor, had been there some 20 years, and he told the staff one day, he said, "When's the last time we baptized anybody that wasn't born in this church?" And no one could remember. No one could actually remember where it was. And then he started polling the church, and he says, "When's the last time anybody invited anyone to come to church here?" And the average was about once every 8 years, somebody invited somebody to come to that church. And he said that is really wrong, and he determined that there's 100,000 people outside the walls of their church that have no idea who God is. And he said, we're going to change that. So the next Sunday, he got up and he had taken off his sport coat and tie, and for the first time preached with just kind of, a nice shirt and nice slacks. And he said, that seemed to get rid of about 10 people that were there. And he said that wasn't enough, so he put some drums on the stage the next week. And he said that got rid of about 20. But he said the third week I just had to be a little more brash, and I just said, we just have to have people that are kingdom builders. And if you're not in that category, could you please find another place to go bless people, because we need your seat. And that's where we're going. We're going to reach the 100,000 that aren't here, not the ones that are here. And that church today has got a Christian school that has about 600 kids in it. It's got this building here now with about almost 3,000 people in it. They are just an alive, growing, fast church, led by the same pastor, the same staff, basically. They've added some staff, but the same ones that were there. Because the vision was, we're not going to be a family of God, we're going to be a kingdom of God. That is where we're going to hit. Walnut Creek, California. I've got to take this slide out of here because it gives me heartburn every time I look at it, just because it's so difficult to get anything done in Walnut Creek. The city determined they weren't going to allow this church to build, and we determined we were, and it was about a 3.5-year battle that finally resulted in getting it done. But it is a beautiful building and good exterior. They've grown well. And you see, each of these exteriors is different. This one in Cali, Colombia, really exciting church. This is the first phase. This is 120,000 square foot just worship area. Just the worship area. 9 years ago, that church had 30 people in it. Okay, just 9 years ago. The pastor, after 20 years of ministry, had decided to resign from the church. He got on his knees with his wife in his living room. He said, "God, I've just not been a good pastor. I've tried everything I knew how to do. Just didn't work very well, and we just haven't succeeded very good. And I'm going to resign as the pastor tomorrow, but I'm going to love you forever. I'm going to spend eternity with you. I'm just going to go do something else with my life." And God spoke to him, and he said, "Pastor, you've been a really, really terrible pastor." And he said, that's just what he told him. And he said, "You have tried everything you knew how to do. Now let's do it my way." And the church in that 9-year period of time has grown to about 19,000. They are on a heavier growth spurt today than they've ever been, and they're in the same facility. And it's probably the most used church in the world. I can't even imagine one that's more used than this. They have 19 services on Saturday and Sunday to make that happen. I was there on a Wednesday night, real late, having dinner with the pastor. He said, "You need to come to our leadership prayer time. If you can tomorrow, you'll really understand some of the principles that we've told you about, some of the things that have really worked." And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm flying to Bogota at 6:30 in the morning." And he said, "No, that's not a problem. We start at 4. And so I went to their leadership prayer time at 4 o'clock in the morning that Thursday, and there were 5,000 people came out at 4 o'clock in the morning to really have this relationship with God and the things that happen. And that's the excitement that we're starting to see. These are just some other shots of what happens. This one's pretty interesting in our own area of Ogden, Utah. This pastor's vision and mission was to reach the Mormon population. he's actually at the point when another Christian comes there from another church, he'll call the pastor and say, one of yours is over here, you might have a problem. And because he's just about trying to really reach the Mormon community, to do that, his vision was that we've got to plant a lot of smaller churches, because they literally have a church in every neighborhood, and in our city it's about every 4 blocks. And so this was the first building done about 5 years ago, very untraditional look, a whole different appearance to it. They moved in here with about 150 people. That was in it was 5 years ago, 1997. They now have 5 campuses, a total of 26 or 700 people going to their 5 campuses, and just ready to open their 6th campus. And so the vision and the mission met what was going on in that community. That doesn't mean that works anywhere, but it worked well in terms of what was happening there. And just a different look over in Sonora. You can see these are 10, 12, 14,000 square foot buildings, yet growing large ministries in some of these areas. So this one here is just under construction in Great Falls, Montana. Kind of an interesting story behind it, but it is not a very large building, but it's replacing a very, very old church that's smaller than that. This church also has almost 800 people, I guess. No, not quite that. They've got about 450 people, and this is sized for about 800 people is where they're at. So